Hi, my name's Tommy Nixon. I'm a 2019 graduate of the College of Holy Cross, where I studied chemistry and pre-med. I took the MCAT twice, first in the summer of 2018. In that summer, that's starting in January to prepare for it. It was my junior year of college. I took a Kaplan MCAT prep course. It was in person, came with all the materials, all the online materials you could ask for. The class met twice a week for 3 hours a night. It was a little tough to cram in there with my athletic schedule as I played hockey at Holy Cross as well. I then took some of that studying, some of those things that I learned into the summer, where I was working an internship at Mass General Hospital in Boston and training for my upcoming season. And unfortunately, I spread myself a little too thin, and I did not score as well as I wanted to on the MCAT. Ended up getting a 503. So fast forward, I graduate from Holy Cross. Then in the fall following my graduation, I started working at the University of Massachusetts Medical School in gene therapy research, and that's when I started studying with Sean Studies. I started working with them to prepare for my upcoming MCAT, which was supposed to happen in March, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it got pushed back to June. Um, Through Sean Studies and their methods, I was able to improve my MCAT score from a 503 to a 516, a 13-point increase that sees me lying in the 93rd percentile. I didn't think a jump like that was possible. I thought I prepared as well as I could for the first one. I knew I spread myself a little thin, but I gave myself 6 months of studying, and I thought that'd be enough. Plus, all my background with all the pre-med courses I'd taken and the good GPA I carried from Holy Cross, I thought I'd do well initially, but the way that the Sean Studies method showed me how to take the MCAT and how it showed me to prepare for it really made a difference. A couple of things that I loved about it was the personalized study plan. In my prior studying for it, the study plan I was given, it was kind of a cookie cutter one that wasn't adjusted to my schedule. It wasn't used to, I guess it wasn't made for somebody who was a D1 athlete working an internship that was working 60 hours a week. I found there's so many deadlines that I was missing. I had to take a practice exam on date A. I had to read 3 chapters on date B. I had to have all my flashcards done by date C. And when I started missing deadlines, I found that I started getting really stressed out, overwhelmed me a little bit, and then that negatively impacted my study. Because when I felt like I was behind, I tried to prioritize. I'd skip stuff in chemistry, my background, my major that I should have been reviewing, to look at more stuff in psychology that I potentially didn't know as well, and then I ended up finding that my Chem Phys section was one of my worst ones, which should have been my strongest based off my background on my initial test. So when I started my retaking process and I started the Retaker course with Sean Studies, the custom study plan that they made was incredible. I sat down one-on-one with my tutor, and we were talking, and he said, "All right, Tommy, how many hours can you honestly devote to the MCAT a week without burning yourself out?" And I looked and I was like, I think I can do 18. I was working a new job. I was living on my own, cooking everything, shopping, you name it. Being an adult for the first time, I guess. And so I undersold it a little bit, saying I could dedicate 18 hours. And we made a study plan that worked for me. And I found that because I didn't have all these deadlines that were looming and stressful constantly, how it was a little bit more manageable. At some points, I was able to get a little bit ahead. Say I had a couple social events on a weekend and I fell a little bit behind, I was able to catch up and not get totally overwhelmed. So that was absolutely incredible. And when I felt positive, like I was actually making strides, moving along in it, not overwhelmed, I found 5-minute breaks at work. I could get some flashcards done, and it was incredible. And speaking of flashcards, another resource of the Sean Studies and the Sean Studies method really showed me how to take advantage of was flashcards. Before I kind of wrote off flashcards. It was just a simple, what is the mitochondria? Flip it, powerhouse of the cell. And Sean Studies really took my flashcard game to the next level by making me make them question-like and making me make them MCAT question-like. So they're like discrete questions on the MCAT. And by doing this, it really made me practice how I'm going to pick answer choices. And if I make a question and I have it be very MCAT-like, where there's 2 answers that are very similar, and I have to work on a 50-50 question, and I have to kind of argue with myself in my head, like, okay, this is the one I want to go with, then that prepped me well for the MCAT. So whenever I saw a discrete question I wasn't sure, it was just like a flashcard that I'd done thousands of times before. It made life very easy for me. Another thing that I loved was the Retaker course itself. The way that it broke down how to take each passage, how to read each one. I found it was invaluable in my card studying, and Obviously, on my second MCAT, I scored a 130 on the cars section, which is the 98th percentile. So I don't think I could have done much better on it, and almost impossible to do much better than a 130. Um, so I'm very thankful about that. It helped me find those high frequency words. It helped me, really hone in on transition or statements, sorry, to figure out what the author was trying to say and uncover the true meaning of it. And it was without that course, I know for a fact I would not have done it as well. All in all, Sean Studies, the experience has been fantastic. Now that I'm applying for medical school right now, they help me a lot with my personal statement, my application, because every tutor in Sean Studies has gone through it before. And so I got almost real-time edits on my personal statement from my tutor. Whenever I had questions, so how do I do my work and activities section on my AMCAS, they were able to help me out. They also helped me look and pick who I wanted to write letters of rec for me. We sat down, talked about my experiences with certain professors, certain coaches, and they really helped me determine who would write the best letter of rec for me and how to ask them, and pretty much anything with my application they were able to help out with, except for hitting send. That was on me. So I'm incredibly thankful for all the help they've given me through the MCAT and the application process. I would strongly encourage any student out there who's looking to go to medical school to, at the very least, just reach out and try and talk to a tutor at Sean Studies and see if there's any way they can help you. And if you can't afford a course, then maybe you can get a tutoring session or two where you can get a lot more bang for your buck. And I know that I unfortunately I missed one of Sean's 5-hour biology boot camps or science boot camps on the weekend. But I've heard nothing but great things, and those are free. So if you have the opportunity, definitely hop in on one of those. And all I'm hoping is, as I get into medical school, is that maybe Sean Studies comes out with a method for mastering the step 1, step 2, and all the boards. So then that way it'll make my life a lot easier and help me score as well as I want to on those exams. Thank you so much, Sean Studies.